Happy Earth Day. As the day goes on, you may have to lean in closer because I may have to whisper as much as preach. But I believe that Earth Day is the most sacred day on our calendar. So much so, as you may have guessed from my sermon title, I believe that every day is Earth Day. Environmentalists tell us that we have entered a time in the Earth's history known as the Anthropocene, an epoch when the Earth has been irrevocably marked by human presence, a time of risk, a time that calls for innovation. Entering the Anthropocene means leaving the Holocene, an era marked by relatively stable average temperatures and climates, relatively stable patterns of seasonal weather cycles. I have a globe here with me today that lost some air overnight. But still, you'll see from this globe that it shows evidence of our human impact. This globe shows the geopolitical impact that humans have had on the earth, with lines defining nations and states, and all of the names of countries and capital cities. And you'll see another set of lines, longitude and latitude, that form a grid that's used for measuring distance and locating places on the earth. Other than the land masses and oceans, everything else that is on this globe is a human construct. So I invite you to consider another view of the globe as seen by astronauts orbiting the Earth in outer space. It's a different picture. Land masses of brown and green, vast expanses of blue waters, and swirling white clouds. At night, the twinkling lights of cities are visible. If we come in a little closer to the level of an airplane, farmlands and cities come into view. Come in a little closer still, and highways and railroads come into view, a transportation network connecting people to each other and to the goods we all need and want to live and thrive. What isn't as visible is the daily flight patterns that crisscross the globe. And all of these, plus telecommunication networks, mean that human life in the Anthropocene is more interconnected than ever before in human history. Remember that old song, "He's got the whole world in his hands." These days, I don't think it's too far of a stretch to say, we've got the whole world in our hands. Human impact is such that we are indeed co-creators of the future of the planet. So to illustrate the fact that we collectively have the whole world in our hands, I need your help. And I thought that we might play a little game here in the sanctuary. Are you up to this challenge? So, the challenge is that we're going to take the globe. In just a minute, I've got several more instructions because I've asked Wesley to help me here. The challenge is that we're going to take this globe and see if we can move it from this side of the sanctuary all the way across and to the back, keeping it in the air. You know, it's kind of like playing volleyball with the globe. Are we up for this? And if you're here on Zoom, I've got some ways for you for you to participate too, so stay tuned. But there are some things that I want you to keep in mind as we do this. Robin Wall Kimmerer, whose story I read earlier, is a professor of botany and a member of the citizen Potawatomi Nation. And she combines Western science with traditional indigenous wisdom. And she asks this question: what does it take to abandon what does not work and take the risk of uncertainty? So as the globe moves through the sanctuary, I want you to keep that question in mind. What does it take to abandon what does not work and take the risk of uncertainty? So you got that question in mind? So the second thing that I want you to keep in mind is that co-creation is not competitive, but cooperative. Volleyball is competitive, but we're trying to keep the earth afloat, which is cooperative. So I want you to consider who is sitting nearby you and how you might work together, considering all of your strengths and weaknesses, to keep the globe in the air and moving in the right direction. Also, if it happens to drop along the way, not to worry. The earth is resilient. It's been through a lot in its 4.5 billion year lifetime. The third thing I want you to consider is this poem written by Warsan Shire. I held the atlas in my lap, ran my fingers across the whole world, and whispered, "Where does it hurt?" It answered, "Everywhere, everywhere, everywhere." So when the globe comes to you, I want you to think about the particular part of the world that you might be touching at that time, and then offer your touch as a healing blessing to the world. And if you were here on Zoom, you can use the chat as the globe is floating through the sanctuary. You can use the chat to answer the question, what does it take to abandon what does not work and take the risks of uncertainty? And then you can also use the chat to name a place on the globe where you wish to send healing energy. So you up for this challenge? Okay, so once we've made it all the way through the sanctuary, I'm going to ring the chime and invite your attention back so that I can offer some reflection and, in true Unitarian Universalist fashion, some action items. So, Wesley, if you would get us started off, and let's take it seriously that we have the whole world in our hands. And let's touch the earth with reverence. Oh, he does know it. And what you need to know, I just asked Halling this morning if he could play. He's got the whole world in his hands. So thank you so much, Halling, and good job. Not quite in orbit, but we lived up to the challenge. Robin Wall Kimmerer tells of asking a class of her botany students to name some of the positive impacts that humans have had on the earth. She says that when she asks the question, invariably the students, who are mostly from the U.S. and Canada, are unable to name even one positive impact. And Kimmerer says this isn't so much because humans haven't had positive impact, because she can name some, but she says this is partly because of the origin and creation stories that we tell. The traditional telling of the most prevalent creation story in Western culture is that of the first humans, Adam and Eve, who are given dominion over the earth and then expelled from the Garden of Eden, only to experience pain and toil. Not exactly a positive way to live on the earth. Contrast that with the story of Sky Woman, who falls from the sky and is tenderly caught by the animals. And then together, Sky Woman and the animals co-create their world together. Earth Day is a day when we rekindle and reaffirm our love for the earth. And Kimmerer would have us ask, what if the earth loves us as much as we love the earth? What if the earth loves us as much as we love the earth? What if we considered ourselves not being in a position of domination, but of being in a reciprocal relationship with the earth, receiving the gifts of the earth and giving back? Kimmerer uses the example of harvesting sweetgrass as one of reciprocity. The harvester never takes more than 50% of what's available. The act of harvesting itself is a gift to the earth in that it keeps the sweetgrass field sufficiently thinned so as to be stronger, healthier, and sustainable for the long haul. So that's an example of that reciprocal relationship that we have as co-creators of the future. You may have heard of the Pachamama Alliance, which is named for a deity revered by indigenous people of the Andes. Pachamama, translated literally, means Mother Earth. And the Pachamama Alliance has partnered with a group of Western, university-trained PhD scientists. Together, they are part of what's known as the Drawdown movement. Combining traditional Western science with indigenous wisdom, the Alliance has put together a list of 50 actions using both existing technology and technology that is currently in development. Actions that, if taken individually and collectively, can draw down enough carbon from Earth's atmosphere to reverse global warming by the year 2050. Not just stop, but reverse global warming. They tell us this is possible, but it takes action now. The 50 drawdown actions are ranked according to their overall impact on decreasing carbon in the Earth's atmosphere. And I offer just a handful of those actions for you to consider. I'm going to offer up number 6 and number 7 on the list. And just think of this ranking. These are high impact possibilities. Number 6 and number 7 work together. Number 7 is family planning. And number 6 is educating girls. It turns out that reproductive justice is also environmental justice. And it turns out that equality for girls is not just good for girls, but good for the planet. Number 4 on the list is eating a plant-rich diet. Again, remember, these are the things that have the most impact. So eating a plant-rich diet is number 4. Turns out that what's good for our bodies is good for the earth. And number 3 on the list, think of the impact this has. It's number 3 on the top 50. Number 3 is reducing food waste. So those are 3 actions that we can take individually. We can focus on our own diets and make them very plant-rich. We can focus on reducing food waste and encouraging it in our grocers and our restaurants. And of course, we can continue our efforts for equality in education and for reproductive justice. Living in the Anthropocene epoch is risky, no doubt. It can also be a time of great creativity and innovation. And I dare say it must be a time of creativity and innovation, a time to see ourselves not merely as consumers of the earth's bounty, but as partners with the earth in reciprocal relationship with the earth, an earth that loves us. Robin Wall Kimmerer asks, what does it take to abandon what does not work and take the risks of uncertainty? She answers, we'll need courage. We'll need each other's hands to hold and faith in geese to catch us. It would help to sing, the landing might not be soft, but land holds many medicines. Propelled by love, ready to work, we can jump toward the world we want to co-create. My friends, we have the whole world in our hands. All of us together in concert with the divine, all of us together in loving relationship with the earth. May every day be Earth Day. May we be the ones to make it so. Amen, and blessed be.